Hello and welcome to the short Vort on Parshas Vaeschanan, the Parsha of Tefillah. This short Vort, based on the teachings of the Chazon Ish, through Sefer Lekath Tov on Parshas Vaeschanan, talks about how to acquire Emunah Chushis, sensual or experiential faith. There's a story about a bacher, a young boy, maybe not so young, but single boy, that would visit the Chazon Ish, Rav Avram Yeshai Karelitz, 1878 to 1953 in Bnei Brak. And one time that he was there, heard the Gadol say that, there are people that they they look like religious Jews. They are religious. They're observant. They seem like they're very strong in their observance. And then all of a sudden, one day, they're OTD. They're off the derech. They're not observing. And to the outsiders, it looks like this happened suddenly. But the reality is, these changes for Emunah happened over time. The person was weakening inside. But the environment they were in a religious community. This is who their friends are. So for a long time, they stayed religious. But suddenly, it became obvious, and they're no longer observant. And this bacher went back to Yerushalayim, but he was wondering, why did the Chazon Ish say this to me? Is there something in me that he saw that was wrong? And this man said to his friend, and his friend says, you got to go back and find out. Now, he was in Yerushalayim, and in those days, it wasn't as easy as it is now to get to Bnei Brak. The next day, he went back. And when Avram Yeshaya Karelitz saw him, he smiled and he says, the reason why I said this to you is that you have to know that Emunah, maintaining Emunah is something that needs constant diligence, constant chazaka, constant reinforcement, because otherwise it's something that'll weaken. So how do you strengthen your Emunah like this? So one thing you have to do is you have to adopt what's called, he said, a life of Emunah Chushis. You're living faith. You're not just thinking it, but it becomes part of you, becomes part of your essence and the way you do that. Back in the days of Chazal, as the Gemara Brachos Daf Hey Amud Beis says, they lived a life of Emunah Chushis. So they have a story in Brachos that says that Rav Huna, at one time, he had 400 barrels of wine that spoiled. They became vinegar. They were no longer of value. And he was wondering why this happened. And the rabbis came over to him and they said, you should examine your actions. See what you did wrong. And he said, but I didn't sin. And they said, do you think that Hashem made a mistake and is punishing you for nothing? So he asked them, well, what do you think it was for? And they said, well, you had the sharecropper and you didn't give on your vineyard and you didn't give him the branches all the branches that he was entitled to. Now, what Rav Huna really thought there was this guy took more than he deserved, and therefore this is a way of clawing back what was really owed to him. He considered the other guy to be a thief in this regard, and that's what he wasn't. He wasn't doing anything wrong, but on his madrega or on an Emunah Chushis, he did accept their judgment, and he gave the sharecropper the branches that he was entitled to, and immediately the vinegar returned back to wine, or some say that the value of vinegar was elevated to the price of wine, and he was able to get back his money. They lived Emunah Chushis. So how do we reach this level, says the Chazon Ish? We have to do that, realize that everything that we get, that we need, is from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And therefore, what we have to do is we have to ask Hashem. For example, you need shoes. Go into the corner and say, Ribono Shel Olam, Hashem, I need shoes and I don't have money. My shoes are ripped. Please supply me with the food. And do this for everything in life. Whether it's for Parnas in general, so pray to Hashem and ask Hashem because Hashem is the one in charge. Or for refuah, for health, say Hashem, you're my doctor. Or for shduchim, say Hashem, you're my shadchan. But realize for everything that you have to pray to Hashem. And that's what this parsha is. His a famous mnemonic that is Vaeschanan el Hashem be'esahi lemor. Vaeschanan, pray like a supplicant, like an onion on the door is not worthy of merit. El Hashem to Hashem in midas rachamim. Be'esahi, find a propitious time that Hashem is makabel tefillos lemor. Be very specific what you want. And then Hashem hopefully will answer, but if he doesn't answer, it's what you need. So thank you for listening. Like, share, subscribe. Have a wonderful week and a wonderful Shabbos.